Thank you so much for taking the time to join us, Anne Marie. I have a ton of questions I'd like to talk through, but we're going to start with just a few. What I think is kids' superpowers, and I think it's unfortunately often dismissed a bit as being naive, but kids are so empathetic. What are some key things that the adults can do to continue to foster and support that empathetic viewpoint and lens?
As adults, the very first thing we need to do is take stock of, are we taking care of ourselves? Are we getting enough sleep? Are we managing stress that happens in multitasking and all the things we need to do? Are we getting enough physical activity so that we're at our best to recognize when something causes an emotional reaction in us? Again, because our kids see that. If we can model for our children managing the everyday stressors as well as the big things. And when I say model it, I mean, you're at home, maybe you're getting dinner ready, your partner's not home yet, the kids are there, you get a call or you see a text, I'm going to be late. Are you immediately upset because you got to get dinner on the table because you have something to do and or can you recognize that arousal and can you out loud say, mom or dad's going to be late. Let's put dinner aside and we'll eat now, and focus on managing and coping in the moment and how you work through it. By showing kids how we deal with everyday things, they will pick that up. It helps them develop empathy rather than just complaining and yelling and then that defeats the idea of developing empathy and understanding one another. It's okay to get upset, but the way you present it and work through it is what we need to show our kids we're doing well in consideration of everyone around us so that they learn how to do that.
I know flexibility is something that you've spent a lot of time learning about and researching and talking about. Can you expand a bit on that psychological flexibility that we want our kids to have?
Psychological flexibility is our ability in the moment to recognize we might be stopped, we might be frightened, we might not be able to do what we want to do. But you know what? We're able to ride through that and adapt our resources to deal with whatever the present stress is. And if it's going to be ongoing, to change the way we're managing things so that we take care of ourselves, the needs around us, and we could move forward in a healthy way. If we get stuck and just just keep drilling down that this isn't good for me, it's never going to get better, why can't we go back to the old way, whatever it might be, you then develop more and more stress. You're more and more irritable. It doesn't change things. And actually, other people in the world moves on. And you are really in a state then of it's not denial. It's just like outright, distress that doesn't get resolved. So psychological flexibility is so critical because, again, it helps us to deal with little things, changes in routines or plans get stopped. And also the big stuff that might take us off track for a little, longer, such as pandemics and all, but it allows us to move forward. So problem solving is critical. Okay, that's the number one skill we all have to learn, and being able to then adapt to new circumstances as we move forward.
If you had kind of the toolbox that you'd like adults to fill up for kids, for the tools they can use in different challenging situations, we talked about problem solving, for example, as a tool in that toolbox. What are kind of the top tools you would put in kids' toolboxes?
Oh, this is a great question. And I'm glad that you asked about skills and what kids need. Problem solving skills are critical. And that's something that you'll work on with your kids from the earliest ages. Another very big skill is self-soothing. And, think about this, whether they need their little stuffed animal in bed to fall asleep at night when they're younger, to they like to talk before falling off when they're, in middle school or what have you. Self-soothing is critical because it teaches them how to put themselves back to a state of calm so that they can reason appropriately. And so it's important to teach that by demonstrating again that there's routines that might help us to be soothing ourselves, nighttime routines to wind down, ready routines in the morning to go into school, what have you. But also self-soothing helps them when they're bored. And that way they're not running towards mom and dad all the time saying, play with me, what can I do? I'm so bored. Self-soothing helps them to be present in the moment with themselves and calm themselves, entertain themselves, and have a life of the mind that is stimulating to them. We also want them to have very good social skills. And that's why it's important to have them in situations with multiple people and different types of people, younger, older, people in authority, peers, people that they are directing in various ways, asking for things, asserting themselves. And it's important, all these skills, social skills, soothing skills, problem-solving skills, because they have to also have experience with disappointment, experience with embarrassment, experience with not knowing the answer. You have to learn how to manage it in the moment. And that doesn't mean you don't cry about it later if it's something that's really important or critical to you or disappointing to you, but you're dealing with it in a way that helps you then move forward.
Thank you so much for joining us today for our TEDMED conversation.
Oh, this was all my pleasure. Thank you for having me again, and I wish you well.